Hello, everyone. My name's Dion Morales, your host of the Gold Squadron podcast, and today we're coming to you live from episode 138. And today I'm joined by Marcel, at least it's better than Epic, Manzano.
You always got to look at the bright side.
Will, why can't we have our toys? Hagwood.
I'm going to be missing a lot of ships.
And Ryan, I am the hype.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. This is the hype.
Staniszewski. All right, everybody. So today is all about Hyperspace, okay? So we're going to be giving you guys our opinions on it. We're going to give you some information. And the biggest part is that we're talking lists. You guys love talking about lists. Here we go. You're going to go home today with 28 different lists, plus 2 for List of the Week, 30 lists, okay? So lots and lots of things to talk about. I'm really curious to see what ends up happening. We'll talk about it once we start hitting each of the factions. But first, gentlemen, let's go ahead and start by talking about what are your guys' opinions on Hyperspace. Marcel, since I think you have probably the most negative feels towards it, I'd like to start with you.
Yeah, I just think it's a little bit too limited. Negative feels, I guess I gotta play it first before I hate it. But yeah, just looking around, I think there's very clear lists that creep up to the top, and there's just overall, I think it's just a lack of variety. That's why I've been playing around calling it vanilla. It's just not enough out there. Maybe when the next wave comes out, I'll feel a little bit differently, even though we already know what's in those packs. But for the most part, yeah. I mean, I guess I'm not excited about it. I like the variety.
What about you, Will? What about you, Will?
I was muted, sorry. It wasn't a dramatic pause or anything. I actually am happy that Hyperspace is actually the limited format that it was promised from the beginning. I know at the beginning of second edition, some of the factions, especially the newest 4, didn't really have a lot of ships, so they didn't really have any restriction in Hyperspace, right? So it was really only punishing the original 3, but now it's, like I said, it's finally coming to its own, like, real limited play, what do I want to say? Play style? That's not right, but you know what I'm trying to say. And it finally, I would say some of the more extreme elements of the game is actually even down to a little bit. One of the examples is like in Snare. We still have the Nantax available because they're a second edition release, but one of their key elements that makes them their power level extreme and kind of the what do I say? Basically all the weird things in X-Wing that we have to get the rules forums out and get all that going just so we understand how to play the game. So I think that while it could be better, sure, I think it's finally doing the job it set out to do.
And what about you, Ryan?
So I'm pretty excited, similar to Will, in terms of they actually did make it limited. At first, when I saw the list, I was like, all right, this feels like very dartboard throwing. Like, all right, throw a dart. All right, you're in. Oh, you're out. It felt random at the start. But then a couple people have like kind of have like this explanation, and I think this is what Will was trying to get to, was they took a lot of the things in Extended that could have a feels bad experience or a complication of combos that build up to anything that just is a heavy hit damage, heavy defense. Just got rid of a lot of the extra combos, stacking cards, extra modification talents, and just said core basis X-Wing, here you go. and obviously what was released so far in 2nd edition. So I'm excited because it develops into a new meta. I love trying to solve it and predict it, and we'll see how it goes.
Awesome. So overall, for anybody who, just in case you don't know, because I realized that I jumped into this maybe a little too soon, what is Hyperspace? So Hyperspace is one of the 2 main formats for the game that you're going to see in Premier Play, as well as in a lot of your tournaments that are out there. So in Extended, everything that has been released in 2nd edition, from new releases and also old ships that have been included in the conversion kits, are legal to be played with. Every card, pilot, no restrictions whatsoever. Build whatever you want. The Hyperspace format is now a curated format where a set of pilots and upgrades for each faction, as well as a curated number of the generic upgrades, have been pulled out of legality, essentially. And if you're familiar with card games, there are a lot of formats like this, Magic being one of the most well-known ones, where only a certain amount of cards or certain set is legal for a format. This is another type of competitive event, and it is something that we're going to see at the Premier level, and that's the System Open level. That actually, starting in a couple weeks, I think we have the Texas one, right? Fort Worth, which, by the way, will be there live. I got 100% confirmation today. I was a little worried for a while. I was like, I haven't gotten your email yet. I was a little worried, but we're good. We'll be there. But yeah, so that's what Hyperspace is. For myself, I am, like has been said already, I like the fact that it is a curated format. I'm curious to see the type of lists that come to the top, because I know that one of the first things that happened is when I was doing our exercise for today, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, that some of my natural instincts for list building got shattered, because I was like, all right, I think I should be able to fit this. And I was like, oh, wait, that's not available. Like, because in my mind, I kind of have an idea of what I was thinking about before jumping into it. Then you realize, oh, that ship is not available, or that pilot isn't available for that ship. You'll see that if you haven't looked at any of the Hyperspace lists, which we're not going to read down everything, that not every pilot for every ship is available in Hyperspace. So, yeah, let's just jump into it. What we're doing today is we're going to give you guys 4 lists for every single faction that is Hyperspace legal. Each of us will talk about why we put those things in, what we think is good, what we think could be better, and just kind of talk about it. We're not saying that any of these are going to be meta smashers and the absolute best thing out there. They're just options, and get the juices flowing in your brain, and maybe what we can do, you know what, I think we're going to do it. We'll have the audience who's watching live vote on which of the 4 they think is the best for each faction. Sound fun, boys?
Oh, yeah.
I'm in on some of that competition, see what the crowd likes out of us.
All right.
See how wrong the crowd is.
Wait. What happens when they pick yours a lot?
Then they're wrong.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and jump into it. We're going to start with the Rebellion, and William has his list first. Let me go ahead and pull that up here. Zoop. There's the first. Oops. I'm going to have to fix that in a little bit. All right, here we go. Where's the thing? The button. There it is. Will.
There it is.
Take it away.
All right, so this is a fairly basic triple I5 list. We've seen, let me break it down. Luke with S foils, Thane S foils, Lando 9-nub. So me and Dion were actually flying a variation of this way back in 2019, but we were able to put Wedge in there with, I think we had a 1-point bid. But Wedge is not Hyperspace legal, and I think that I5 is a very popular initiative in Hyperspace going forward now. So I've actually elected to take, uncharacteristically, a 6-point bid on this list to make sure that Lando's coordinating actions and what Luke and Thane can do in their X-Wings is after other I5s.
All right, and we'll go to the next list here, and that is mine Yes, Dion made a list. Okay, here we go. So I called this one B-Wing Bonanza. All right, so we got 10 nub with ion cannon and those S foils, which will be legal by the time the Fort Worth Hyperspace system open comes up. So I figured I'd put it in there. Braylon Strom with ion cannon and those S foils, and 2 Blue Squadron B-Wings with no upgrades whatsoever. This weekend, I got to see the power of those double tapping. Like, I hadn't really internalized how good the double tapping B-Wing could be with the ion cannon. It can be really nasty. It's one of those situations where, and if you got a couple of them pointing at a target and you take a risk, you are going to end up ionized. These B-Wings already hit hard with their stress modifications, and the fact that the target lock that they're putting out there using those stabilized S-foils is really just to trigger that ability to be able to double tap, and it's not there for the modification because they already got it built in. So if that actually get around to using that target lock, it's just bonus. So that's B-Wing Bonanza. I think we have Ryan up next.
All right, so I call this one the Heroes of the Rebellion. We have a 4-ship rebel list utilizing almost no upgrades except for some foils. We got Luke Skywalker, Braylon Strom, 10 nub with the new stabilized S foils, and Jake. You're looking at 3 ships that could be double modded on their attack with Braylon's focus barrel roll with 10 nubs barrel roll lock, and with Luke just taking a lock with his force. And then Jake is always a good help and support to either B-Wing, mostly Braylon, to try and make sure he gets his focus in case Braylon bumps. Jake can come in and pass the focus and barrel him off the bump, and he still get his actions and shots.
All right, and last but certainly not the least in the Rebel faction, Marcel, what'd you bring to the table, sir?
Well, if you're not going to give me enough ships to play with, I'm going to try to stack in more upgrades in there. So I think I got a couple more upgrades than you guys on this one.
Yeah.
So I actually went a little bit with William's train of thought with Lando and Luke. However, instead of saying, I like Arbol. Arbol with Intimidation is just super strong. So I have Lando with Nian Num. Again, to open up the blues. K2SO, that way he can give somebody a calculate early on in the system phase, maybe even himself. He's always doing a blue maneuver anyway. And then Luke Skywalker with 3 regen R2D2. So that Luke is going to be near impossible to kill, especially if he's also getting extra actions from Lando. And what I like about Lando and Arbol put together is that Lando moves at 5, so if Arbol is somewhere off to the side for whatever reason, just so don't stress them, you're able to coordinate a focus boost to him or something like that, or a target lock boost, and ram him right into range 0 of somebody at initiative 5. So and then that whatever you ran them into is going to be dead because it'll be intimidated. It'll take 3 dice from there, and then a bunch of dice from Lando and Luke as well.
All right, so that has been our 4 lists for Rebels. Pretty interesting to see some of the overlap, some reaching for Lando there. Ryan and I both looking at those B-Wings. So go ahead, vote 1, 2, 3, or 4 right now. Really quickly, we have to keep this fast, under 1 minute. 1 for Dion, 2 for Marcel, 3 for Ryan, 4 for Will. That's just alphabetical order by first name. Which list out of the 4 do you think is the best out of the Rebels?
3 regens. Come on. Come on, you gotta sell your case, right?
I mean, that's not what we're here to do. We're here to let the people decide. I will say, looking at what we do have here. I mean, you don't have triple regen though. You have.
That's 3 regens. That's 3 regens on a ship. So that's 3 charges of regen.
Boo! Come on, that's not the same. How is that the same?
It works.
All right, just a couple of things here. I like using the K2SO there, and yeah, reaching for R2D2 was pretty nifty. Yeah, Will, man, looking at that list, the Luke, Thane, Lando, that was one of the first ones I built too. And I was like, I might just play this because To remember the old times.
Yeah, remember the old times. I think that I think the reason me and Marcel reached for Lando is that you really don't get a lot of coordinating. I think it's the only way to coordinate in Rebels right now as well.
Yep. And I mean, Lando's also, since there were already Lando lists, I didn't put the Lando list I would look at, which would be Luke Braylon Lando. That fits with, I think, a 2-point bid. But I do like the K2SO Lando for sure, because he's going to be doing blues anyway. So if he wants, he can give the calculate to himself and coordinate a focus to that Arvol and boost him.
Ooh, racking up them caucuses.
People liking them Arvols. All right, so I have come up with a list utilizing the new Fireball. I call it pod racing. There's a lot of things going really fast, except the one pod. We have Kazuto Ziono with the R5 Astromech Coaxium Hyperfuel and Advanced Slam. I actually got a chance to play with this build, and Coaxium's pretty good. If Kaz gets blocked, he can still slam, and if he can still slam, he can advance slam and still get his action. And I had a very close moment where he was down to 1 health, and I flipped a couple cards, didn't die, and killed the ship in front of me. It's pretty adrenaline rush of a ship. The other ships, we got ZZ with advanced optics, Tally with advanced optics, Greer with advanced optics, and Rose Tico. Now that we don't have Finn, Rose is a natural filler for the Resistance when you have 4 or more ships in your list that she can trigger off of for her reroll ability.
Very nice. Moving on here, let's take a look at Will's lists for T70 Fat Bottom Boys.
Oh yeah. These guys are thick. Let's see here. They're basically just the Red Squadron T70s with heroic, hull upgrade, and integrated S-foils. That's going to make them a 8 health ship, 3 shields, 5 hull, 3 attack dice, and that heroic to keep a little bit of defensive consistency. It's a lot of health, a lot of attack power.
All right, Marcel, what you got cooking up here for the Resistance?
Yeah, I went ultra boring with Resistance because you can't go wrong, right? With what's not broken. But it does get a couple upgrades. So it's 5 A-wings, and it has a few improvements from the existing 5 A-wings, which is they all have heroic and advanced optics. I personally think this is probably going to be the maybe in S tier if we're doing like B, A, S tiers. Because I actually think this list is also good in extended. It's one of the few lists that carry over to extended without actually missing a beat. So it's ZZ Top. They get it. He gets it because the double actions is great. Tally, you keep Tally in there just so you get 2 5s in there, and you drop from Zari. Even though Zari's ability is pretty good, you drop from Zari to the new Ronith, and just the ability again to share tokens and be able to make a decision on the spot if one of the other ships is not getting shot at, or one of the other ships already got shot at and kept its token, you get to use their token instead. So offensively and defensively, and of course you've got your 2 initiative 1 blockers. Again, consistent firepower, consistent defense, and consistent time on target. I actually have this particular list as probably taking down. I'm gonna go out on a ledge. How many hyperspace system opens are there?
Total,
like 18 or something like that.
16, I think.
16. I have this list taking down 4 out of the 16. 25% of all system opens will be won by 5 A-wings.
Oh wow,
No way. people won't invest the money in the buying 5 A-wings.
The few people that do are the ones that are going to. I mean, Bartos is going to win 2 of them on his own. So there's 2 right there. So
That's a lot of. I mean, he's a great player. No, of Bartos, if you watch this, no offense, but that's a lot of faith in one person to do half of what you're saying by himself.
Hey, it's 5 A-wings, and he doesn't have everything else that would tear this up or give it a bigger challenge and extended. This is a vanilla wing, and it's a list that's good in regular extended X-wing.
All right. Well,
I have spoken.
Yes, you have. All right, let's go ahead and move on to my list, which Ryan came up with the name evac. I like that. We're evacuating the resistance base here. Idea for the list was just trying to get different pieces for resistance. I did think about the 5 A-wings, but I was trying to get a little more options, different tech in here. So 4-ship build. We start with Kovanel in the resistance transport with Heroic, Leia Organa to give Kova herself and also some of the other ships in the list some flexibility with the R4 Astro. Then we have 2 A-wings. We have Greer with Heroic and Advanced Optics. Just time on target is ridiculous. Why would you not take Greer? ZZ Talo, one of the new A-wings that we see out there that can be really defensive. It's one of the most defensive A-wings out of the bunch. Just being able to spend that charge every turn to grab that evade or focus, depending on the situation and how it goes. And then Temin Wexley in the T-70 X-Wing with Heroic, Black 1, and integrated S-foils. Some people might say, well, what about Composure? You can't put Composure on it in Hyperspace. It is not Hyperspace legal. But already, like one of the ideas here is you bust a 4K with Leia, you have access to the boost, and because it becomes a white. Just lots of different options open up for these ships with having Leia in there. You hardly ever see the A-Wings use any of their red maneuvers because they're already so maneuverable on their own, but might give you some options there when you have Leia available, being able to put those A-Wings in spots where people aren't expecting them. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to re-poll now after the Resistance. Now, as we wait, I want to remind anybody who's listening at home, if you're struggling listening to this because of the number of lists and upgrades we're all saying, we are going to publish a document with all 28 of these lists, and that should be in the description of the podcast as well as on YouTube, those of you who are watching. But we will have a ton, an absolute tonnage of lists available for you guys to look at. Again, we'll have 28 of them. Now, Will, out of these 4 lists, which one do you think is the strongest?
5 A's.
The 5 A list.
I originally had 5 A's in there, but I had the old school 5 A's with greens and stuff in it. I think the new A-Wing pilots very strong. As Marcel said, it's time on target, a consistent dice. You don't have the couple of the other predators for the list. So I might be leaning towards 5 A's as well.
All right. So after Staniszewski says believe in the fireball in the chat. He's caucusing out there trying to get his votes. All righty. So after we got 14 votes for this one, looks like Marcel takes another W with Will trailing close-ish behind. And Ryan and myself in the dumpster. So not bad.
Prove them wrong. We will prove them wrong.
That's right.
Use them fireballs.
Gio and I got
the only good fireball is the kind that you take in a shot, not the one that
I mean, if every time you have to flip a card with explosive wings, take a shot, sounds like a fun
look
game.
At that. That looks like that. It looks nice though.
Don't shame this ship.
Yeah, nice looking ship. It'll stay on display somewhere down on the table.
You know what? I'm going to bring it. Actually, no, I wanted to fly Von Reg, so not this week. Because the following week, I'm going to fly the fireball.
Oh, Von Reg, so much fun. Okay.
Alrighty. So, Marcel, congratulations. That's another W. 2 out of 7 to Marcel. Alrighty. let's go ahead and move on to what's our next faction here, the Republic. And we could just start with our winner there, Marcel. Your first Republic list, please.
So with the Republic, I did unmute myself. Yeah, I did unmute myself.
Yep, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, with this one, I was actually, there's just so many different ways about that you can take this particular faction. I think the Republic has probably some of the most variety along with the First Order and things that you can take. However, that variety doesn't necessarily equate to like the best list. It just has more variety because it doesn't have anything that sticks out, mostly when you take the Delta 7s out of it. So I went with Anakin because I still love my baby Annie, so I got to keep baby Annie in there. But I went with Tommy's version of baby Annie, which is passive sensor and proton torpedoes, and then also Danae Ellerby, passive sensors and proton torpedoes. Most of the time he's going to be taking 3. So what that effectively does, it actually takes Danae's ability, for those who don't know, is the one that if you go the same speed as the person you're shooting or being shot by, he becomes Omega Leader at that point, so they can't modify their dice offensively or defensively.
Omega Leader doesn't exist. Midnight.
Midnight, whatever.
Hey, do you know that over half of our listeners are brand new to second edition?
Okay,
over half.
Midnight.
Okay, yeah.
So basically, if they go the same speed, which he's going to be going speed 3 90% of the time, so it just takes the 3 maneuver away from your opponent. If they don't want to get a proton rocket without mods in the face, and then just go with the arcs because they're big, tanky, and they'll get in the way. So you put the 2 arcs up front, you let them out first, so you line up with the 2 arcs in the middle, and then the 2 Naboos in the back, slow play them, and then once you get into the engagement, the arcs are creating that space or that gap for the Naboos to passive sensor and drop torpedoes on someone. And the bonus, Danae and the 2 arcs are all initiative 3, so they can do that move-ish thingy so they don't bump each other. I think it'll be fun. Again, I don't think it'll be ultra competitive. A good ace list will just tear this apart, but it'll catch the less than best ace players off guard at sometimes.
All right, now we move on to Ryan's list, the Republic of Salads.
Yeah, I didn't have a more interesting name. It's just a 4-ship Republic quality salad. We have, starting off and rounding out, I think, most Republic lists in Hyperspace until we see some other stuff show up. We got Obi with CLT. We got Plo Koon with CLT. We have not baby Annie, little Annie. He ain't a baby no more. Passive sensors, proton torpedoes. I think that might actually become the most utilized Naboo starfighter. Even though Rick is very popular, this Anakin's going to hit real hard, and there's a lot more room and points with not having 7B anymore. And then to round it out, we got broadside with ion cannon turret because it's much easier to CLT things when it's become ioned. And CLT, I think, is pretty underrated for a lot of people. You're going to be facing a lot of 4+, 5+ ship lists and swarms, and those CLTs are going to be money.
That's right. Adding any type of results, especially on offense, you have a focus token. You just bought yourself a hit, just with positioning. Sounds good. X-Wing is a game of positioning.
Did we see that last Saturday? How did good positioning work out for you on that one?
Shut up.
Sounds like some variance kicked in.
This episode is not about how I set up a beautiful kill box around Mace Windu and the dice gods said no. Okay? It was recorded.
Samuel Jackson said no.
Yep. Anyway, I'm not bitter. Let's move on. That's why we're not talking about this tournament this weekend. Oh my God. Not going there. Marcel, why you get me started? Anyway, Will, what's your list?
This is what I would consider best of. It's because I brought one of each pilot. Or wait. one of each ship that's hyperspace legal in this Republic faction. So, as I very much agree with Ryan, I'm bringing Obi-Wan with CLT. Super good, fantastic piece. So he's in my list. I also have Wolf as my arc pilot. Double modifying is pretty good. And I also brought Broadside with Ion. I also agree. Broadside's Ion cannon hits very hard. It's something like 90% to get 3 hits or something like that. Pretty darn good as long as you have a focus. Now, this is where we differed, though, in our Naboo starfighters. Because I wanted the more expensive Wolf and an 8-point bid, which you could probably put Daredevil on there on Rick if you want. But I went with Rick Olay with the R2 Astromech. Classic build, went up a little bit, but I still think he's going to be the sleeper in-game in this list. So gives you a good set of I5s, a couple beefy blockers, if you will. I guess they're not really blockers. They're just people out there trying to double modify, basically.
Cool. And last but not least, I took a bit of a gamble on this one. Okay. So 5 Jedi Knights, all with CLT and predictive shot. Now let me read you what predictive shot does before you judge me harshly. Okay. So it says, after you declare an attack, if the defender is in your bullseye, you may spend 1 force. If you do, during the roll defense step, if the defender cannot roll more defense dice than the number of hits or crit results. Now let me explain to you how the idea behind this list is. And I was talking to a buddy of mine, Okta Khan, when he was in Chicago, and he was the one that kind of tipped me off to this, and I was like, oh, that could be really dirty. So the idea here is these Jedi Knights, that they don't want to engage you. Okay, they don't want to engage you. They want to make sure that they're taking their time. They got enough maneuverability where they can be kind of, I'm going to say, Phantom-esque. Obviously not as maneuverable. They don't move in the same way, but they're gonna stay together. Okay, they're gonna stay together, and they're just looking to get half points on something and then survive. And with the predictive shot, it gives that opportunity where if they roll 2 hits at some point, they just trying to plink away shields until they get half points. And then because they are low initiative, they're initiative 3, they're getting underneath those 4s and 5s, and we don't have sense in the game anymore. So a lot of these Jedi that used to rely on making sure that they can, what's your dial? And I'll just make sure I'm safe. Blocking is the plan here. You block, you block, you block, you block. You play better than anybody who brought high initiative ships just because you feel like you have an advantage. Well, if they get blocked, they don't get action. So that's the plan with the 5 Jedi with predictive shot. All right. So now that we have finished those out, let's go ahead and we're going to pull up the poll here and see what people think. Ryan, which one's your favorite out of the set?
I gotta say I like Will's variation as well. The best of I looked at that for sure. I think a second Jedi probably is better than Wolf in Plo, but he definitely has a bigger bid in his list, which is going to be more helpful for his Rick and his Obi in deciding, like simply for Rick deciding if he's going to regen or not, and where Rick wants to go and where Obi needs to go. So he's got the big game on his list, and Wolf is no joke, the double mod.
Awesome. We're waiting for a couple of more votes to roll in. It's a good opportunity to remind you guys that we will be streaming live this upcoming weekend from the Las Vegas Open, the Fly Better Grand Championships. Super excited about that. And should be a lot of fun. One really cool thing that we did, if you guys know who Wade Pache is, he's an awesome guy from used to work at FFG. He was one of the people affected by the layoffs over there, and we, Gold Squadron and Fly Better together, put the money together to get him a flight. We already had space in hotels, and bring him down. And he might be making a guest appearance as a co-host, for commentating. So it should be fun. And so might get some Wade Pichet here. All right, now let's get to the votes. After 23 votes, William is in the lead with 47.8%, and Dion, myself, takes another silver here at 29.2. Will, congratulations getting the W.
Nice.
All right, let's move on here. We are now hitting up the Separatists. And we're starting off with Ryan.
All right, so I went away from the obvious stuff because everyone is mostly seen what fits with a lot of strut guys, but no one's looking at the hyenas. And what the hyenas can do is you can bring 5 of them with proton torpedoes, landing struts, and one of them with a probe droid, and you say, I dare you to come into my range 2 to 3. You are going to die, and I'm going to sit on this rock.
Very nice, very nice. People in the chat calling out Marcel for not commentating about the fact that he lost in the vote. He's just not taking it well. So sad, so sad, so sad. All right, we move on here to Marcel's Separatist list. He's still muted.
I'm just having fun in the chat. Yeah, no, that last one was bad. Well, come on.
It's okay. It's all right.
It's bad, but it's fun. Okay, it'll be fun. But yeah, it's bad. Don't take it to a tournament. So this one, I actually do think it's a little bit better. It's better because it takes a lot of the things that make other lists good, which is just a lot of ships out there, a lot of bulk, and Discord missiles. Discord missiles are really, really, really good. We found that out by virtue of everyone who's been winning with Discord missiles. So I took what did I call this? I think I called this a Separatist salad, even though it's not really a Separatist salad because there's only 2 ship types in there. So I don't know what I was thinking. So we've got 066 with Count Dooku. Be able to mod anybody's dice at any given time, offensively or defensively, and also gives them a force. And I like his ability of being able to take an action because being at initiative 3, he can take an action. If he gets shot, then he shoots back with a target lock. Darth Maul with General Grievous. That ship is known to be good. So you've got 2 10 shield or 10 hull, 10 life Sith infiltrators, and then 3 Trade Federation drones with Discord missiles. I wish I had enough points to fit some struts in there. That's the only thing I feel bad about. I might even suggest if somebody were to take this, just drop General Grievous and put the struts on the 3 Trade Federation drones. But much like the Republic list, I think this will be good. If I were personally, I think if I were to take this to like a 6-game turn or a 6-round tournament, 3-3, maybe 4-2. 4-2, I think I could do 4-2 with it in this type of format. 5-1, I just don't see a lot of variety with the Separatists to be able to make 5-1 unless you're just spamming 8 ships on there. So, but it's fun. It's going to win a lot of games. It'll win you a lot of the league games, and it'll win you 3 or 4 system open matches out of 6.
All right. So for myself, I basically copy and paste XY's list from the Australian System Open because I really, really liked it. And the only thing that's changed is you're going to have to drop one of the grappling struts. I'll go ahead and read it down here. So you got Count Dooku and the Sith Infiltrator with heightened perception, tractor beam, General Grievous crew, the Scimitar title, and K2B4 tactical relay. For those of you who don't remember, that is the one that when a friendly ship with calculate on the bar goes kapoof, basically, sorry, let me just read it. While a friendly ship at range 0 to 3 defends, it may spend 1 calculate token. If it does, add 1 evade result unless the attacker chooses to gain 1 strain. So pretty awesome there. And then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vulture droids, with 5 of them having grappling struts and 1 of them does not. You know, with good placement and you understanding how you want to approach, you can put that one in a spot where it won't really affect it too much with the rock. But I just think it's a really, really good list, and I saw it on display quite a bit, so I really, really like it. That's where I am. All right, Will, what about you? Where's your heart? Tell me.
My heart's in more ships. So while Octacons, oh wait, no, it wasn't. It was XY.
XY, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, XY's list. I flew it a couple times. Personally, enjoy it. The reducing the opponent's agility when shooting is cool. What it doesn't have is the Pinata droid, TA-175. So we put that onto a droid, which is 066, the Sith Infiltrator, and then that's exactly 60 points, and that's that triggered in my head 7 drones with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drones, all with grappling struts, and there are recent changes to TA-175. I believe now that he does his ability after each ship engages. Is that correct, Ryan, or anybody who knows?
It's as soon as the ship is destroyed. You do not have to wait till the end of the initiative completely. So if you're at the same initiative firing, it does matter who is shooting first, because if they shoot first and your guys start to die, they don't get removed yet, but they will get their calculate.
I think that's a great change. We saw a lot of like mirror matches with the TA-175 where basically did nothing because everybody was like, I won. So now it actually does something, and because if I'm bringing the Pinata droid, we're going to bring as many droids as we can. So fill it out to the full 8.
Very nice. So that has been our 4 lists for the Separatists. Go ahead and get the poll back up here so that people can vote.
So Will, actually from your list, and we start thinking about who gets to choose first and second player, do you start chipping off some grappling struts just to bid against each other?
Well, see, that's the biggest question I think right now is what is the prime initiative in hyperspace? Are we going to see ones all over the place, or is the
I'm just saying in droid matchups versus each other with TA-175 if it becomes predominant enough.
Well, I mean, with the grouping of the calculates, it shouldn't matter too much. But I could see where in certain like dice roll situations, you would really want to pass off first player, so they shoot, destroy your drones, and then now you guys have maybe 2 or 3 calculates per ship, and you can really start modifying. I think if I did pass off first player, right, I would be taking a lot more target locks if I was moving second, shooting second.
You could do that. The other difficulty is, though, if you're not first player, you also could get blocked and you lose calculates in the whole engagement as well once it starts getting into the scrum.
I mean, this is the difficult choices.
It is an actually difficult choice, and
let's do that.
Well, they can't block us if we're on rocks.
True, if you're just sitting on rocks with each other. It's funny. I guess I haven't seen that before because I haven't been in a droid versus droid fight to have an enemy droid next to a friendly droid on a rock grappled together and they're just shooting at each other.
I know. I'm still waiting for the 4 droid off, just all hanging out on one rock shooting at each other.
Just playing King of the Hill.
That's
basically,
right.
Yeah. But like, this is my rock. I'm gonna be on it till you're gone.
That'd be a fun, weird side event. Just everyone gets some droids and you just play King of the Hill. It's just super quick rounds.
Last person on a rock wins.
Well, no, you just put like one like, let's see, how could you could put in some rules to like hot potato when the rock changes, and you always just get one drone so people die quick, and you like when. Like
so this is more like Aces Low, is what you're saying.
It's very Aces Low, but it's not for kills. It's for King of the Hill.
That's right, and the rock moves. I would say like similar to like Halo, where like the spot would move around. At least when I played in the first Halo, It would move around. That'd be fun. All right. So after the votes here, I get a victory. Yay. So I've been keeping tally here, by the way, guys. All right.
Nice.
And then Ryan takes second place. So what I've been doing is 2 points for a win, 1 point for a second place.
Is that because you've been getting silvers this whole time?
That's right. All right.
What about bronze, man?
What about bronze?
No,
Bronze
no
over-
bronze. Dion hasn't gotten bronze yet. It's fine.
Nah. It's like, wait, I gotta go back. Alrighty. So now we move on to Scum. William, make your case, sir.
Okay, let me get this pulled up here. This is, well, a 2 fire spray and 1 jump master list. And I brought, we'll start with the jump master. This is Love. Marcel, how do you say his last name? I've just been calling him Nom Nom, which is not
Lumb. Yeah,
Nom, nom.
like lumbar.
Nom, nom.
Like you need lumbar support. Lumb.
Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna call him Nom Nom. But he's
Nom,
got,
nom, 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 nom.
he's got the ion cannon to make sure he's got a gun out the front. He's got. Oh wait, no, this isn't right. Wait, that's why it didn't work.
What?
Dion, you gotta change it. I didn't put Dengar crew in there. That's why I had the extra point.
Disqualified.
This.
That's why I had
Next.
what
that's
what
why I had
did
extra points for. Just change out snapshot for Dengar.
over here on this guy on Crassus?
What? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I had extra points when I rebuilt it. I was like, oof. Anyways, he's
why
supposed
is it
to
not
have.
letting me put Dengar in? Oh, it's a gunner. Okay.
Dengar
sorry.
Gunner, yep.
Yeah.
And that
He's a
goes
Dengar
on
gunner.
Nom Nom.
Dengar Gunner loves people being in the arc after they defend, which is the same triggering of Nom Nom. So they're a match made in heaven. So you get the swivel turret there with Dengar, you get the iron cannon out the front, cybernetics, because you know you're going to be slooping at some point in time. We have, and then just basically some fire sprays with the upgrades that I think they need, which is Caustic Frost with 000, and Crassus Trellix with Ion Cannon. Can shoot the Ion Cannon out the back or the front. Gets a reroll every time they do it. That means there's 2 Ion Cannons. So you could really lock somebody down, start using those extra arcs that your ships have. Rear arcs and then the swivel turret arc of the Jump Master. Could be pretty interesting.
All right. Now moving on to Marcel, that was on a very similar path as you, Will.
I bet.
Yeah, he's got the right ships, the wrong pilots is what's going on here. So I've got also 2 fire sprays and nom 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 nom. And just but I have tractor. Actually, it's not tractor. It should be auto blaster. It's the same points. It's auto blaster if you want to swap that out.
Oh, gave me all that gruff about not having the right
Look
list.
at this scum and they're
It's
not
a
being
typo.
prepared.
So it's same again, just like Will was saying. Nom Nom needs a little bit of Dengar on there, and essentially works either as dealing out damage, a don't shoot me, or a hot shot, because now they gotta burn their green token, and the auto blaster turret. I think the auto blaster turret is good for Nom Nom, because Nom Nom's typically gonna be right in the thick of things. So you've got Nom Nom. And the 2 fire sprays. So the main thing here is, while William has the 2 named ones with the things they're supposed to have and all this blah 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 and this and yada yada yada, you can have 6 fire sprays. None of them is Boba Fett, and that's what counts. So you've got Boba Fett with Fearless and Slave 1, so he's not getting blocked. And I think just a generic fire spray is good enough. You don't need anything else. Basically, Nom Nom and the fire spray are going to be in the thick of things, causing havoc. And Boba Fett is going to make people sad, and it's going to kill people, and you're going to win a lot of games. I think this is actually a competitive list. I think this is one of the 2 competitive lists that are probably on here. The other one coming up.
Listen, you hear all that shade being thrown? Wow.
No, I'm giving love to Ryan.
Hey.
I said one of the 2, the other one being Ryan's. So I think between this one and Ryan's list, they both have because they have the pilots that matter, Boba Fett and Fenn. I don't think either one of us. I mean, either
let
any
him
of
get
us four got Boba Fett in there. But if you get Boba Fett in there, you probably win.
All right, here we go. Ryan.
So, as Marcel alluded to, I also have a key piece in the Scum. These are Fang's Namen and Fen Rao, 2 zealous recruits, and then Namlam with Dengar Gunner and Ion Cannon. That Namlam is just meant to get in the face of as many things as possible and screw up their plans. Being that the zealous recruits also are at I-1, they could flank around and move around Namlam to get the shots on the stuff that either bumped into Namlam or that Namlam is threatening. And then Fen Rao is there to close and do big damage.
Big damage.
Big damage.
All right, and then last but not least, we got my list here. Dengaroo plus Fen. Yeah, I probably triggered a couple people saying Dengaroo. I'm sorry. So we got Dengar in the Jumpmaster 5000 with expert handling because you need that to be able to barrel roll, move around a little bit. Ion Cannon, Maul Crew, and Contraband Cybernetics. You'll notice I didn't say Punishing One. That addition of the being able to put a cannon on there, I'm kind of leaning on that a little bit. Try to control some things. Dengar is still dangerous, and if you need to, you can move that arc to the front and still have a 2 dice attack or a 3 dice in range 1. Do a little bit of double tapping that way. Then we're bringing Manaroo with Ion Cannon and Contraband Cybernetics. Why Manaroo? I don't know. I just needed it for theme. Felt good. And her ability does, allow for a couple shenanigans here. You want to pass off, some different tokens, being able to transfer off those green tokens. Maybe Fen took a target lock and you chuck him a focus here. And then, of course, just Fen with nothing. I would have loved to put Fearless on him, but it's 3 points, and I only have 2 points left after 198. But Fen naked is still really, really good. So that's where I end up there. Dengaroo plus Fen Rao. I mean, that sounds like a killer combination. I think so. Now, Marcel, you were mentioning, as I bring up the poll here for this round, you were mentioning that really what's your opinion on, like, if you're actually going for, like, what do you think is the right choice for Scum? If we're not trying to be creative and trying to build different lists, you were just saying go for what?
I think that really there's 4 good possible choices for Scum. I do think that the list that I had with the 2 Firespace and Nam Nam, you need something. Boba Fett makes sense because you're gonna get a lot of ships. You're gonna get a lot of 5.6, and Boba Fett. That's really where Boba Fett comes out, and with Slave One being able to change those, so that's one of the pieces that you definitely want to have in there. And also Ryan's list with Fen and blockers and just some ships being able to do some shenanigans in there with getting in there at range 1, and that's really what you want to be able to counter with the Scum, because you're going to have a lot of ships that are you're going to have 5 X-wings, you're going to have the strikers, and just a lot of things that are low PS and shooting a lot. So you want to be able to counter that. Another one that none of us brought up is either Boba and Fen, the 2 best on there, or you're also going to be able to do like 4 Fang fighters or something like that. That's legit. So I think Scum is in a pretty good spot for Hyperspace, but definitely you need Boba Fett and you need Fen Rao, and then one of the 2, and then fill in the rest.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Will.
I was just going to ask. In the last tournament, now I blanked out. Marcel, you got second in Gold Squadrons monthly, didn't you?
Yeah, I lost against Dengar and Boba.
Is that list Hyperspace legal?
It is not.
Johnny's
Hyperspace
legal. Not.
Well, what made it not Hyperspace legal?
It had every upgrade in the book.
I could probably bring it up if you guys talk for time.
I was interested to see if I could make Dengar Boba Hyperspace legal.
Yeah, I think where you start. I mean, for the most part, most of it you can make it legal. I just think in a long tournament, then all credit goes to Johnny. But if I was going for a major tournament like a System Open,
Oh wow, there's a lot of upgrades on there that were. There's 26 points that wasn't legal.
yeah, if I was going for that upgrade,
What?
I think Fen is just much better than Dengar in a scenario like that. The only thing that made Dengar really good, with Johnny, is that regen. He had regen, and that's really what made the difference with Dengar being able to regen after I got him down to half a few times.
Yeah. So I think in most cases right now, when you're looking at the three main pieces, and you're most likely not going to be able to have all three fit, but pick two. And then if you want to fit a third ship with them, you can try Sunny Bounder with Auto Blaster, or just take a big bid. But it's Boba, Slave One, Maul Crew, probably best, but 000 still a good option if you need some more points to work with. Dengar, you can do Ion Cannon. I think he can hit pretty hard if you go with Punishing One and R5P8, and then Contraband Cybernetics for those red maneuvers. And Fen Rao doesn't need any upgrades. So Fen Rao, Boba, if you keep Boba moderately cheap, you can definitely fit in that Sunny Bounder with Auto Blaster just as a nuisance.
All right, and just for funsies here, so you guys can see it. Here's Johnny's extended list. Then you change the hyperspace and everything disappears. So, just for the people who are wondering. All right, let's move on here. So the victory goes to Ryan in the vote. In the second place, a silver medal won by Marcel there for Scum. Now we move on to the Empire. All righty, so I'm up to the plate first. Baseball analogies triggered, childhood trigger right there for myself. Anyway. We got Darth Vader because Vader's just good with passive sensors. Normally you would want afterburners and sense on Vader, but neither of those are hyperspace legal. And Vader, even still, Vader's a really good platform. You put passive sensors on there to be able to react to everything, just in case, because I am at 200 points at the end here. You can end up giving yourself some options with that target lock and any other actions that you need to take. Then I just filled it out with 4 planetary sentinels. Those are the TIE strikers, the initiative ones, and just their maneuverability that they have all over the board to be able to control space. And then plus I have 2 of them with seismic charges. Just they're 3 dice guns, and you're just trying to mow stuff down with those strikers. And Vader makes sure to clean up to soften up the target. That way these strikers can really clean up, and there's no reason to fly in formation with these guys. You have all the maneuverability in the world, and you're just trying to make kill boxes. The 2 agility is going to hurt, but hopefully you can leverage some of the seismic charges against the Separatists, which I think is probably the biggest thing that these guys are scared of for this list. All right, Will, you're up next.
I have a similar thought process with the planetary sentinels being so cheap right now. 31 points for a 3 dice gun. So I brought a lot of them. I brought 5 of them, and then filled out the remaining 45 points with a TIE Reaper named Vizier. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Well, it is in my book. Anyways, Vizier's got an interesting ability, which says after you execute a 1-speed maneuver using your adaptive ailerons ship ability, you may perform a coordinate action. If you do, you skip your perform action step. So basically how this works is that Vizier, as long as he fully executes, whatever you want to call it, his ailerons, he can do a white coordinate, and then he just can slam into whatever, or do their red stop maneuver or sloop or what have you. So I think it's an interesting way to get coordinate, an easy access coordinate into this kind of multi-ship build. That's 6 ships, all with 3 dice guns. You have a person you can jam and coordinate. There's also some goofy stuff you could do where in the TIE Reaper you could choose not to use Vizier's ability and just do red coordinates, and being stressed prevents you from doing ailerons, so it actually slows him down in instances when you want to control his speed a little bit. I was actually able to put this on the board, and beyond so many ailerons and bumps, so many bumps, because I was not ready for that many ailerons. But in the end of the day, I think they're pretty strong. Don't sleep on the strikers.
A real quick note, I actually did see somebody in the chat asking, what happens if you fail an aileron? Nothing. It's you finish, you go as far as you can, just like a normal maneuver, and it doesn't prevent you from doing actions or anything like that. The only thing that does happen is you do like suffer like rolls off of obstacles, but that's it. So let's move on to the next one. We have Marcel with just kind of continuing a theme here.
Yeah, you're following the theme. Again, this is where I was going back and like saying like the vanilla version of it is, and I'm sure there's plenty of other stuff we haven't even thought about with the 2 ships that are available in this faction. But yeah, so this is just like Will or Dion. I just went a different way with the power hitter, and my power hitter is Rear Admiral Chernu, and yeah, just Rear Admiral still punches hard. It's still 16 hull. It still has it still has reinforce, and it will take you forever to kill that ship. And I think right now, especially with all those TIE strikers also putting out damage, I think it can handle almost anything out there, because most of the things that'll be shooting at Rear Admirals are probably going to be unmodded. One of the things that Dion and Will, you guys didn't mention that much, is just the fact that since they're all initiative 1, they're going to be hard to block, and they're always going to be getting their actions, and they're going to be doing that to the opponent. So again, just like you guys, I think TIE strikers are the money play. It's just what you pair with it. I think Rear Admiral is and no upgrades on any of it. I don't think you need any upgrades. Rear Admiral gets that soft focus as long as it reinforces, so he's going to be soaking up damage and he's going to be putting out crits. So it's pick your flavor. You like Vader, you like Vizier, you like Rear Admiral, Rack, but pick your flavor between Vanilla 1, Vanilla 2, and Vanilla 3.
I prefer chocolate myself.
Well, the only chocolate was Ryan, because he's the only one that did something with it like that's not loading a bunch of strikers out there.
All right, well let's get to that chocolate. Ryan, what's going on here?
All right, so I almost went with Vader's 6 TIE Academies, but I'm like, you know what? I think Vader would like passive sensors, and that doesn't fit in that list. So I went with Vader with passive sensors, 4 Academies, and Duchess. If there's one thing we had seen work, obviously to some sense enabling advantage with Vader, Soon Tier, and 3 Academies in the previous meta to allow the Academies to block. This basically just takes all those ties and screens for Vader to say, you're not blocking me, you'd have to go through my TIE fighters. So wait.
I have to say pause. Your cat is sneaking up behind you. I think he's looking for some salami. So just wanted to let you know.
I don't have any salami on me, but she's down here trying to get attention.
Okay, great for you.
Thanks. So basically take those 4 Academies, make sure you build a barrier, a screen for Vader. Vader just takes passive sensors, and Duchess is coming around on the flank.
All right, so those are our 4 Imperial lists. So are you voting for strikers, or TIE fighters? That's essentially...
There's a striker in my list. It just happens to be Duchess.
That's right.
No, you could say, are you voting for Vizier, Rack, Vader, or
Duchess? Or Vader and Duchess. Yep.
Duchess or... No, I don't know how to make Duchess with Vader at the end of it. Darth Duchess.
Darth Duchess.
I was trying in my head, but we would demonetize the owner. Doesn't
Don't
work
do
out.
that.
No, doesn't work.
Oh man. Well, it looks like we're cutting off the votes right there. All right, I win. Let's move on.
Well, wait a minute.
I know we got to give it time to mature. This is fine. Alrighty. Well, actually, this is a great opportunity. Remind you guys that we have this weekend LVO, and then a couple weeks after that we have the Texas System Open, which will be the first premier event with Hyperspace in there, and I'm curious to see what pops up.
Is it before UK?
When's UK? It might be the same weekend.
Yeah,
might be the same
weeks.
weekend. I think Texas is also in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Dion, quickly clone yourself.
No, man. They asked me. They were like, "Oh, Dion, just come to the UK." I was like, I don't want to get fired. Like no joke. They finally figured out what I do on the side. I got an interesting talking to. But that's not for
really?
the show. Yeah, just a little one. Just not necessarily a bad one.
Aw.
But there's an eye. There's an eye on Dion. Hi.
There's an eye on that went over my head.
They're watching me.
Big Brother's watching.
Yeah.
Oh, an eye. I thought you meant like an eye, like DION. No. There's an I in Dion. I was like, wait,
what? No.
We should be talking about me's and teams, and there is an ME in Marcel. There is a misspelled we in William.
All right.
But there is an I in Dion. Like,
anyway, let's go ahead.
A team player there, buddy.
Yes. All right, so this is the closest one we've had. I squeak out a victory here at 33%, and Marcel ends up at 27. Good, notable. Will at 22, and Ryan at 16. So let's go ahead.
They like the strikers.
Distribute those points. I mean, the strikers, they're just good. They're 3 dice. Yeah. They're 3 dice guns. They hit hard.
They move fast, too.
Woo! Alrighty. Now we move on to our last faction of the evening. We have the First Order. Let's go ahead and start with Marcel.
All right, and I call this the Huntsville Squadron. It's initiative 256. If anybody on the chat can guess why I call it the Huntsville Squadron, I ain't going to send you anything. I'll buy you a beer next time I see you. All right. So actually, this is no upgrades. This is pretty straightforward. It's initiative. The reason I call it the reason it's 256 is because it's an initiative 2 rush. Kylo at initiative 5 and Major Von Reg at initiative 6. It comes in at 190 points. So this one actually, what it wants to do is it actually wants to win the bid. Not a lot of stuff out there is going to be at 190 or below. So. Kylo, super tough to kill, initiative 5. Major Von Reg, again, that's without Sumter in Hyperspace. Here is your I wouldn't even call it Sumter Light. Here's your Sumter Extra Light. But it's still good. You get an initiative 6 with 3 dice and with the ability to take target lock focus every single turn if you play it right. Kylo again, target lock force every turn if that's what you like, with the focus for defense. And rush for those who aren't very familiar with rush. Rush is initiative 2, but as soon as he takes damage, he converts himself to initiative 6. So at some point during the mid game, if you play it right, you can be playing with 665 and a very powerful bid with ships that can double reposition. All of them can double reposition, and your only 5 being, Kylo, which good luck killing Kylo. So I actually like this list. It's super simple. I think it has legs. It can beat like the A-wings that the 5 A-wing lists that I think are going to be probably at the very top of the meta, and also the Boba Fett. This is probably one of the lists that can compete with those, in my opinion, because these 3 ships can they're the most maneuverable, that can arc dodge all of that, and negate a lot of what Boba Fett does, because Boba Fett probably won't have that big of a bid. But anyway, that's just my opinion. I wish I could put some more upgrades on there. If there was crack shots, I wish you could put some crack shots in there. But unfortunately, they're not available. But other than that, I think it's pretty solid.
All right, moving on to Ryan's list.
All right, so a little bit inspiration from Daniel Taylor's list from Worlds. I think First Order has a solid way to replicate that. If you recall, he had Wedge, Braylon, Jake, Blount, and a Z. So let's fill in the gaps. So we got the I6 Ace, obviously not as hard hitting potentially as Wedge without having some potential consequences, but your endgame piece, your I6, Von Reg with Daredevil. Then you have your Braylon with the new Lieutenant Lahus, which he may use a friendly's target lock to reroll his attack dice. And you put Special Forces Gunner there for the 3 attack dice. He just takes focuses and uses the locks. And the TIE BA has a natural ability to take a lock and then reposition without stressing itself, unless you Daredevil with Von Reg with the boost. Jumping down, Lieutenant Revis will then also take advantage. This is lock synergy, where when enemy ship would gain an orange or red token at range 1 to 2, Revis may acquire a lock. So that's another way to set up Lahus for the double modded shot. And then we just have a bunch of aggro. We have Scorch playing as the Blount of the list, with a way to get another 3 dice to 4 dice attack at range 1 by just stressing itself. No upgrades necessary, keeping it nice and light, because Scorch dies most of the time. Then you have Long Shot, just another way to get the extra dice offensively, just at longer range. There's not a lot of I6s. Von Reg may not need the bit as much, but if an I6 ends up moving after you, you just use your aggro of ships as a screen instead of flanking with Von Reg in a normal list where he would move last.
Awesome sauceum. Will, with your list, faux show.
It's the Focho. Like Ocho, but for the foes. This is pretty simple here. Actually, I said it in our prediction show for the new points when we were predicting if you could end up flying 8 foes in a list. I said I would fly that. That sounds pretty good. And honestly, the advantages of the FO chassis, having the target lock over the target lock, better dial, and shield over the standard TIE fighter, I think it actually be useful in this. You're always going to have one as a blocker, right? So he comes in, he screams in, maybe barrel rolls or evades or whatever, and then you can kind of gauge each person. Plus, when a couple of them start getting hurt, the ones kind of creep around on the outside can start taking advantage of this target lock actions. And it could be fairly nasty. It's also 32 health on 3 agility. Pretty good. I don't know if it'll win any tournaments or anything, but I don't want to see this across the board for me.
And then last but not least, we got my First Order list. Very similar to Marcel's, but a little bit different thinking here. I got 555s in the First Order. We got Kylo Ren, no upgrades. Hollow as an option here with Daredevil, just because Daredevil on these the BA interceptors it's just really good. And then Blackout, also Initiative 5 as well. That leaves you at 195 points. You do have a bid versus the other Initiative 5s. Not a 10-point bid.
Not a 10-point bid.
But you do got 5 there. All right, so we've been through all 7 factions. This is our last poll here for the First Order, and then we'll reveal our winner, assuming that I wrote down all these numbers correctly, because I only started this about halfway through. All right, so go ahead, vote now. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, here's my question to you guys. Out of the factions, which faction do you think is the best off in hyperspace?
I would say I would call it a tie between. I would call it a three-way tie between the First Order. Oh God, actually, the more I think about it, I would have to say the First Order, Scum, and the A-Wings. A-Wings, the Resistance A-Wings, just because they're Resistance A-Wings. The First Order because the First Order and the First Order and the Scum because they have the most versatility. And I can envision somebody in the First Order or in Scum because they have the most versatility coming out with something that we haven't thought about that can just shock people. But if I were to just put my money down, actually I already put my money down. I already said A-Wings were going to win 4 out of the 16. So I guess I already chose without even knowing that I chose A-Wings.
Can I just comment on the poll right now? It is beautiful.
Super close.
Vote now. We need to know who gets that silver. It's gonna matter. I'm doing the math.
Oh, you're talking about all the 20s?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So,
Ryan, go ahead. What do you think?
I think Resistance, Separatist, and Scum. With the be careful with First Order, something might get figured out. Maybe I didn't show my best list I'd be working on in the First Order in this episode.
No.
But that DT list is the second one I'm working on. I haven't put that on the table yet, but I have put the other one on the table.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. So after the votes are in, Marcel gets another 2 points. And then Will and Ryan take a tie, so they get 1 point each. All right. The votes are in. The winner
And that means I get to reveal my bonus list, right?
Yes, since you won.
Yeah.
I'm just saying 'cause I got to reveal them.
Okay, so the winner. I have to. So we have Marcel. He won the competition. I got second place. Ryan and Will did tie for third.
Will, we're the most
take it.
right. Woohoo!
Nice.
Oh, yeah, I'm the most wrong.
All right. So let's go ahead and Marcel brought a bonus list just for funsies here. What's the bonus list?
Just for baddies, because somebody will probably ask me, well, what about? Here you go. So, yeah.
Marcel, give us Jump Masters.
Jump Masters. You got Jump Masters. You got 4 of them. You can actually fit 4 of them now comfortably with double arcs, ions out the front. And I call this the Dead Man's list because
Nice.
They all have Dead Man. They all have ion. They do all have ion, don't they? Yep.
Yeah.
And then of course you got Num with Dengar, and I actually think it's not bad. I mean, if you just throw, how much health is this? 9 times, that's 36 health. Yeah, you throw anything with 36 health and 8 arcs on there. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. It'll be dumb. And you're gonna win some stuff, and I would be fun to play this against like a decimator, just to walk it off the board. Okay, keep walking, keep on walking, just ionize it off the board. But don't take it 20 tournaments, and don't buy 4 Jump Masters for crying out loud.
How many do you own?
6.
Ah,
I think I own 5.
Okay,
So
2.
so me and Dion could fly this.
yeah, we could.
Yeah.
Should we? League.
At a
I
league
don't-
night, maybe, yeah.
Fight against each other.
Okay, how about this, Dion? Challenge for one of these next coming league nights.
Okay.
I bring my 4 Jump Masters. I load them up how I want. You load yours up how you want. We'll make it hyperspace only. So no non-hyperspace stuff.
Okay.
And we'll throw 8 Jump Masters on the board and see who comes out on top.
Jesus Christ.
Challenge
Wait.
accepted.
Wait. I want to add a wrinkle to this challenge. You have to bring the biggest obstacles.
Okay. Well, rocks?
You mean rocks? Biggest rocks.
Rocks. You mean rocks? So
Sure.
right.
I'm in. I'm
Good
in.
luck.
All right. Okay. So stay tuned for 8 Rocky Deadman Jump Masters on the board. You load them out however you want, though.
Okay, I will do a thing, and I will lose, and it's gonna be great.
I'm probably gonna lose too. I think.
I think we lose by playing the game. I think that's how.
There are no winners.
Yep. All right. I did realize I didn't pull out enough lists for list of the week, so I'm kind of scrambling for a third one for you, Will. Sorry, because I was looking for Hyperspace legal ones. I think we're gonna have to break the Hyperspace legal ones.
I might just put my own list of the week in there.
Oh,
you don't know.
Do it. Just do it. All right. I'm making you responsible for it. I've delegated. All right. So here we go. It's list of the week time. If you don't know what list of the week is, I think this is probably the community's favorite segment. And this is where we take your list that you guys submit on Discord, and we tell you what we think, and we also do a little bit of editing with the caveat that we can only change up to, we can change pilots, but we can remove up to one different ship type and add another one in there. Upgrades are always up for grabs. Let's start here. And this was submitted by Zool on our Discord. Again, remember, if you're submitting only Yasby links, please save us some time. Yeah, here we go. So Marcel, you're taking it here. The list is 3 Skull Squadron pilots. Those are the Fang Fighters with Fearless, and then Sarasu with Intimidation and Ion Cannon at 200 points.
Ooh, that looks really good. Actually, will change something. I was gonna say I might not change anything, but I will, because the thing with Sarasu is that Sirius is really fast, just not fast enough to keep up with Fang Fighters. And I love the Fang Fighters on here. So remember earlier when I said, when we were talking about the Scum, I said, you can have all these Boba, or what did I say? Basically Boba, Fenrau, and then just throw in the rest. Nam being one of the other, he's not a good ship. Just get that clear. What makes him good is that he is undercosted and he is super cheap. So he is valuable for the points. Not good, but valuable for the points. So he's like like a V19. A V19 is a bad ship. It's just really valuable for the 25. So if you get the cost benefit is there. Anyway, the other one that I said was 4 Fang Fighters. So this is going to be a super easy. It'll be super easy, barely an inconvenience. For those of you who watch pitch meetings, to get rid of Sarasu and just hit the copy paste on that Fang Fighter, and there you go. I think 4 Fang Fighters, Initiative 4 with Fearless is really all you need. And I mean. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I mean, this is pretty solid. The only other thing that you got this variant, and then you got the other variant where they're all Initiative 1s, and you got Fenrau. Mm-hmm. So that's still out there, Fenrau with Fearless, and then all of them Initiative 1. Choose your flavor. I happen to like 4 Initiative 4s. I think 4 Initiative 4s will probably do they'll just beat out the Fenrau plus 3 1s, just by virtue of again going back to that cost benefit. The cost benefit on 4 4s is better than 3 1s and a 6.
I'll say one big difference that I think that Hyperspace is going to do for the game is a problem we had in first edition and even in extended is that the middle pilot skills for most factions, they don't matter. Right, you don't even consider them, and what FFG's done is, well, one of the things, they took a lot of the lowest initiative out of the set and said, you know what, you can't even use that one. You have to, like for instance, the Arc 170 for the Republic. I think the cheapest Sith Infiltrator, just like they did that here. But this Initiative 4, I think, has a lot of value. So.
It
Good
does,
point.
because it jumps over the 3s, which are I think, just like in your list that you came up with, like the 5 or Octo, where we got the inspiration for the, with 5 Jedi. Mm-hmm. Things like that. The Initiative, I think the Initiative 4 is going to carry some weight in Hyperspace.
All right, the next one, Ryan is going to take this list that was submitted by Rave205. The list is a Separatist list. It has Sunfac with Outmaneuver and Gravatic Deflection. Gravatic Deflection, not one that we see very often. I'll go ahead and read the ability just so that we can refresh here. It says, while you defend, you may re-roll 1 defense die for each tractored ship in the attack arc. We move on here to Darth Maul and the Sith Infiltrator with Tractor Beam and General Grievous, and then 2 Techno-Union bombers, those are the hyenas, with concussion missiles and landing struts at 200 points.
All right, so does anyone spot the problem in this? We've seen this once before with Outmaneuver.
We made a video about it.
So Outmaneuver does not work on Sunfac because he does not have a forward firing arc. He has a forward bullseye arc.
Yep, and he has no weapon that is a forward arc. Like there's no way to put on like a cannon or something like that.
Yep, he has a turret arc that would seem like it's pointed forward, but that does not work that way. So automatically, Outmaneuver has to go. So Sunfac costs a lot of points. Dio and I can only swap Sunfac out for one other ship.
Yeah, you can change him to a different pilot, but you could kill one ship completely and add a different ship if you wanted to.
Because I was thinking you get rid of that Sunfac, you could just have 2 more of those Techno-Union bombers.
Sure, that works. That's we can alter the rules to do that.
And shift, and then you could probably drop one of the landing struts and tractor beam off Maul, and then just have the Dark One probe droids on Maul. Now, granted, I know the original point was to have a lot of tractor shenanigans. Nothing immediately came to mind as to which Nantex would have fit that slot better at that point in time, but this is a lot of shots. You got Maul's double shot, you got the concussion missiles going off from any vector really, and you should already have the lock coming in with a bunch of shared calculates.
Cool. And then last but not least, Will is going to take a list from Jude Allen. It is a Scum list. And it is Kath Scarlet with Fearless, Maul, Crew, Contraband, Cybernetics, a Skull Squadron with Fearless, and 2 Mining Guild Sentries. Those are the Initiative 2 Mining Guild ties with Snapshot.
All right, I want to start by just a shout out to our Discord channel. There is a lot of list submissions in there, and I would say if we don't get to your list, it's probably because there's nothing to change on it. We would just buy it how it is. Or there's like just one little change in it that we would do. So if it's just for reference, if we don't ever get to your list, it's because we think it's good.
Or they didn't submit a Yasby link and I didn't have time.
Well, yeah, that's true. I did went on my way and made a Yasby link for this one because I think this is interesting. It may be just my thinking that like this is a Cat Scarlet build, but if it is a Cat Scarlet build, I want to be able to use her ability, or else we might as well just bring Boba, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bend the rules a little bit as well, is that I'm going to drop both Mining Guild ties and drop the Skull Squadron down to a Recruit. And then hit that clone button. Clone. And, oh, look, so we're 12 points over. I guess we'll have to drop that Maul.
Boom. Leaves us at 200 points exactly. Kath Scarlet with Fearless and Contraband and 3 Zealous Recruits.
Yep, those Zealous Recruits. Basically, the problem I had with the other list is that while it had a lot of good tools on it, you're not going to get those blocks at I3. Of all the lists we've been looking at, there's plenty of I1s, so you're going to need I1 to block.
Fantastic.
And the boost on the recruits will do it. They'll find those blocks.
Zoom, boost focus. So good. So good. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed our Hyperspace Extravaganza. I don't know what I'll title this episode, but it was a lot of fun being able to go through these lists. Thank you to everybody who submitted lists of the week. We didn't do a question of the week this week just because we are at time, and we want to be respectful of our host and also my time. I will say that there might be a slight delay putting out this episode because for some reason I must have accidentally clicked stop recording about halfway through, or like in the beginning. So I got the Rebel section, and then we didn't pick it up again until like Scum. So I'm gonna need to wait for this to process and then download or like screen record the audio, and I got some work to do. Let me just put it that way. So sorry for the delay, but if you watched it here live on Twitch, you got everything. But of course, we are going to be publishing that doc with all of our Hyperspace fun lists and see what happens. All right, we got a couple of weeks before we get our Hyperspace premiere events on in the UK, also in Texas. Going to be a lot of fun. Thank you to everybody who joined us. Remember to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. We did hit that 10K, by the way. I don't know, did I say that last week? I'm still just super pumped about it. Next goal is to try to see if we can get Twitch followers as high as that. I think right now we're at 7,000 followers on Twitch, which is our major, our live stream. That's where we do all our stuff. So thanks for watching, everybody. Again, LVO this weekend. The event starts on Friday. So yeah, day 1A on Friday, day 1B on Saturday, and then day 2 on Sunday. Thanks for watching, everybody. My name's Dio Morales. Gold Squadron out.
Bye now.